Hello yogis, my name is April and welcome to the Yoga Ranger Studio and welcome to your practice today. Today we're going to be working with the heart chakra, the space at the center of our chest, the space where we transition from the lower chakras into the upper chakras. So I always think of it as sort of a gateway or a bridge from one to the other, helping us move from these lower chakra spaces, more about ourselves and our lives and our personalities and who we are, into much more of that connection with the outer world and the divine. So this little pathway. This is also the space of our compassion, our acceptance, self-love, love for others, and the beginnings of our relationships with others in life as we move through life. The element here is often considered air in traditional yoga. So this airiness, this lightness, the breath, this space of the lungs and the heart space is what we'll be working with in our practice. So for our practice today, just a few props. You can always have more props than this and maybe possibly a couple less, and I'll tell you which ones you can have less of. I always put a blanket underneath for support and for softness because it's restorative yoga and I like to feel a little bit cared for. A little bit of self-love for our self-love practice, right? I'm sitting on a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you can use a couple of pillows off your bed or a couple of couch cushions or something like that to give you a little bit of support. Make them a little firmer though. You want something a little bit more firm. 1 to 2 blocks. You can use 1, but 2 might work a little bit better, especially in our second pose to give you a little bit more lift and support, but that is entirely up to you. If you have a really thick bolster or a couple of really big pillows, you might just need just 1 of those. And an extra blanket or towel. So you could use a towel from your bathroom or a beach towel or a blanket or a throw blanket for our poses for a little bit of support here as well. So we're going to start with our first pose, setting ourselves up. We want a block underneath our head. So we're going to take 1 block off to the side. We're going to take our bolster crossways across the mat, about 1/3 of the way down. So you're going to have your head on this and your shoulders up on this. So kind of find that place. You'll be able to reach up above your head to get that anyway, so don't worry too much about it. Coming down, laying our heart space over this, finding that block and tucking it underneath right at the base of your skull so it gives you that little bit of support. Now this block could be lower if you want more throat opening. You can always lower it a little bit more, but you want your underarms to be right at the very top of the bolster so that your arms can come out to the side. Our second blanket we're going to use here, we're going to drape over our knees to hold your knees in place. Now you could take your legs out long if you really wanted to, but it sometimes feels good to just have them tented up. Here your arms can go out to the side. Walk your feet a little bit further away from you. You can bend your elbows. And we're going to be here for quite a while, so find a position that's really supportive. So if you have to wiggle a little bit and adjust your block a little bit more, do whatever you need to do to feel really supported. In restorative, our goal here is to allow the pose to do all of the work for us so that we just relax and release into the support of the props. So maybe with your chest lifted, you feel a little bit more opening to breathe, taking some nice deep breaths. Now feeling like you have your seat on the floor, so you have a little grounding there, grounding our air element. Take a little while for your body to fully release. Give it time and patience and care. Gently, with as minimal movement as possible, begin to bring your arms in. You can softly slide that blanket off to the side that's on your knees. Tilting yourself over to the right and very carefully making your way back up right. Sometimes I feel I can stay in that pose forever. So for our next pose here, taking our blocks at the lowest setting, and you're going to put them at either end of your bolster so that you have a nice space underneath. This is where your arms are going to go. We're going to take this other blanket and we're going to tuck it behind our knees to give our knees a little bit of support so that we don't have to bend them quite as much for our child's pose. So bringing the knees wide, big toes together, leaning forward, tuck the blanket at any width you want. So you could fold it up more or less. It's going to give you a little bit of space behind the knees. Pulling your bolster in a little bit more. Starting to walk yourself so you lay flat. And you're going to tuck your arms underneath and give that bolster a little hug. Turn your head to the left or to the right. Don't worry, I will let you know when it's time to switch the other way. Let gravity take your shoulders to the floor. Gently lifting your head and turning over to the other side. Very slowly turning your head back to center, walking your hands on either side of your bolster and pressing up. Taking the blanket out from behind your knees, setting your bolster up so you can take a seat on it. Coming to a comfortable seat, cross-legged or otherwise. Bring your hands together at heart space, keeping your pinky and thumb tips together, opening your other fingers up like a little flower in front of you. Softening your gaze down into this space. This is the mudra for your heart. Feeling the element of air as we take each breath in and each breath out. More space in the center of the chest and the heart space for love, compassion, acceptance for self and for others. Gently bringing your palms together at heart center, thumbs to your breastbone. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Have a wonderful week.